Was that girl from Brave Celtic?
Yeah, she's Scottish.
No, I asked if she was Celtic.
Yeah, a Celt is anyone who speaks a Celtic language.
And is Scottish a Celtic language?
Yep.
Is English a Celtic language as well?
Psh, no.
Wait, yes it is.
Wait, who are the Celts?
Well, the people themselves are sort of hard to define other than a group of people that lived in Central Europe around 2000 BCE.
But you said Scottish was a Celtic language, and Scotland isn't in Central Europe.
It's because they were pushed out and nearly destroyed by the Romans and Germanic tribes, along with the Celtic culture, which is why they couldn't have influenced English, because they weren't in Central Europe when the English language came along.
They didn't completely wipe out Celtic culture. Some Celts were isolated by mountains and water, so their culture remained after the Roman invasion.
So where did the language get pushed to?
What remained of their people and culture was in the British Isles. You could say the Celts are more English than anyone, since they were the earliest known inhabitants who came to the area.
Even then, there were only a few remnants of that culture left.
It didn't matter. The Celts had already interacted with much of Europe by the time of the invasion, including the Germanic tribes.
Do you have any proof of that?
Sure. The Latin that the French learned was influenced by Celtic languages. There are dialects spoken in northern Spain that have clearly been influenced by Celtic, and several northern Italian locations start with the Celtic word for settlement, tre.
Okay, so that still doesn't prove your point that Celtic influenced English.
No, but it shows that Celtic culture was strong enough for its influence to survive an invasion.
He has a point though, doesn't he? It's like Native Americans, for example. When the Europeans settled here, the Native Americans were already here, and we pushed them to various corners of America without adopting any of their culture.
Didn't we, though? What state do you live in?
Illinois?
Which is a Native American word, just like many other place names in America.
Oh, okay. I see your point.
I'm not denying that English may have collected a few words here and there from Celtic. I'm sure it did. English has also collected a few words from Lewis Carroll, but I doubt anyone would say the author of Alice in Wonderland had a strong influence on the language.
It wasn't just a few words here and there. English collected whole grammatical structures from the Celts.
How would that even be possible? You said so yourself, the Celts were on the British Isles.
But the British Isles includes England, which is English.
But the Celts were on the west side of the British Isles, away from England. If their culture had once existed in Great Britain, it wasn't there anymore.
The Anglo-Saxons who invaded...
Who are the Anglo-Saxons?
The Germanic tribes who invaded. Anyway, they were brutal to the Celts, treated them like crap. The Celtic language and culture were still there, but they were shoved to the bottom of the ladder. It wasn't a respected language, so we barely have any early records of its structures being used in English.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. We don't have any records of it being used in Old English, so how can you possibly assume that it played any part in shaping English?
What would you say to greet a friend if you saw one right now?
Hey yo, what's good, homie?
Now, what would you say if you were writing a letter to them?
Hello, my good sir.
See? Just because certain phrases aren't written down doesn't mean they aren't used. It just means they aren't highly respected enough to be used in formal records.
Okay, I see your point. But what I still don't see is this grammatical structure you claim English adopted from the Celtic. How would that even be possible if they were treated terribly by the Anglo-Saxons?
Well, first of all, the Germanic tribes didn't completely overrun the Celts like you might think. It was more like a compact number of violent and destructive encounters. The technology needed for a genocide, like you described, is only possible with modern technology, which I'm assuming the Anglo-Saxons didn't have.
So then what do you think happened to the Celts?
They just integrated into society. There's no archaeological evidence to support the idea that the Celtic population died out or even decreased dramatically in size.
Okay, but what structure did we supposedly take from the Celts?
Let me show you. How would you ask someone if they wanted to see a movie?
Do you want to see a movie?
Why do you need the do at the beginning?
I don't know, I just do.
You actually don't. In Spanish, to ask the same question, you would say, ¿Quieres ver una película?, which literally translates to, you want to see a movie? Most languages have this as well. The only two languages that have this meaningless do are English and
Celtic.
And once you were watching the movie, how would you tell someone what you were doing at the present moment?
I am watching a movie.
Since I am 147th Mexican, I know that in Spanish you would say "Yo veo una película," which literally translates to "I watch movie."
As far as I know, I think English is one of only a few languages that uses the progressive ing to simply state an action in the present tense.
It's a little hard to claim that a language and culture that developed structures you use every day could have been wiped out.
Okay, fine, I give up.
Yay!
Delete it.